In episode 1, we learned how the Stoics built an inner fortress to protect their minds from a chaotic world. But fast forward 1,000 years to the 17th century, and the world wasn't just chaotic, it was undergoing the most terrifying transformation in human history: the scientific revolution. Before this, people believed in a magical universe. The Earth was the center, and everything had a soul or a cosmic purpose. But then, Galileo pointed his telescope at the stars. Newton formulated the laws of gravity. Suddenly, the universe wasn't a magical kingdom anymore. It was a cold, mathematical machine. A giant, predictable clockwork of cause and effect. But this precise new science raised a deeply uncomfortable, even terrifying question. If the universe is just a machine governed by physics, are we just machines too? Where does the human soul fit into a universe made of gears? Welcome to episode 2 of our journey through the human mind. This is Descartes and the Ghost in the Machine, a descent into radical doubt to find the one thing that cannot be faked, the spark of thought itself. Enter René Descartes. It's the winter of 1619. Descartes, a brilliant young French mathematician, is stationed in a freezing military camp in Bavaria. To escape the bitter cold, he crawls into a small stone stove-heated room and shuts the door. Alone in the dark, he realizes that almost everything humanity has believed for centuries is built on shaky ground. He decides that to build a true, unbreakable foundation for human knowledge, he has to tear the old house down completely. He commits to an exercise of terrifying psychological endurance: radical doubt. He will strip away everything he thinks he knows until he finds one single, absolute truth. Descartes unleashes his method of doubt in 3 devastating waves. First, he attacks his senses. "Have my eyes ever deceived me?" he asks. Yes. A straight stick looks bent in water. A mirage looks like water in a desert. If your senses lie to you once, you can never trust them 100%. Second, reality itself. How do I know I am not asleep right now? Have you ever had a dream so vivid you felt the wind on your face? How can you logically prove you aren't dreaming right now? But the third wave is the most extreme. What if there is no physical world at all? What if God is not good, but instead there is a supremely powerful, evil demon, malin génie, an entity whose only goal is to deceive him, feeding illusions directly into a disembodied mind, tricking him into believing that 2 + 2 = 4, that the sky is blue, and that he even has a body. To prove how unreliable the senses are, Descartes looks at a piece of solid honeycomb wax. It clicks when he taps it. It smells like honey. It holds its shape. But when he moves it close to the fire, it melts. It becomes a hot, clear puddle. His senses tell him it is a completely different object, but his mind knows it is the exact same wax. Truth, he realizes, doesn't come from the eyes. It comes from reason. By this point, Descartes has destroyed the world. Space, time, and his own body might be illusions created by the demon. But in this absolute darkness, he hits rock bottom and finds an indestructible spark. He realizes the very act of doubting means there must be something doing the doubting. If he is being tricked, he must exist to be tricked. He writes the most famous words in philosophy: Cogito, Ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. He had found his Archimedean point. But look closely at what Descartes proved. He didn't prove his hands existed, only his mind. This led to substance dualism. He argued that reality is split into 2 fundamentally different dimensions. First is res extensa, extended thing. Matter. It has weight, takes up space, and operates like a machine. Descartes believed animals were purely res extensa, literally meat automatons, biological clocks with no inner life or feelings. Second is res cogitans, thinking thing. The mind. It has no weight, no size, and takes up no physical space. It is the conscious soul, and according to Descartes, only humans possess it. We are the ghost in the machine. Dualism saved the human soul from the cold machinery of science, but it created a massive, glaring logical error. In 1643, a brilliant thinker named Princess Elisabeth of Bohemia wrote Descartes a letter that backed him into a corner. She asked a deceptively simple question. If the soul is completely non-physical, how can it push a physical object? How does an invisible, weightless thought cause a heavy, physical arm to raise? Descartes panicked. His answer was bizarre. He claimed the interaction happened in a tiny, pine cone-shaped organ deep in the center of the brain, the pineal gland. He said this was the antenna where the spiritual and physical worlds collided. Today, science rejects the pineal gland. Modern neuroscience tells us that the mind is what the brain does. When you feel love, it's oxytocin. When you feel fear, it's your amygdala firing. In fact, we can even split the ghost in half. In the 20th century, doctors cut the Corpus Callosum, the bridge between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, in patients with severe epilepsy. The results were shocking. The patients essentially developed two separate minds in one body. The left hand would button up a shirt, while the right hand would unbutton it, fighting each other. If cutting a piece of meat can cut consciousness in two, Descartes' idea of an indivisible, immortal soul seems impossible. We are, it seems, highly complex biological algorithms. Descartes tried to save the human soul by separating it from the cold, mechanical universe. He built a brilliant new foundation for human knowledge based on pure reason. But to hold his entire system together, to guarantee that the evil demon wasn't tricking him, he ultimately had to rely on one absolute pillar: God. But the scientific revolution he helped start didn't stop. It kept marching forward. What happens when science eventually explains everything? What happens when the machine becomes so complete that humanity no longer needs the ghost and no longer needs God? The old foundations crumble, the rules vanish, and the modern mind is left staring into a terrifying abyss of meaninglessness. Next time, we meet the philosopher who saw this existential crisis coming, who handed us a hammer to smash the old idols and challenged us to become our own gods. Don't forget to subscribe as we continue our 12-part journey through the evolution of the human mind. Because to change your life, you must first understand the machine that creates it.